By the way, the reality of all of this is that the real world doesn't live in a data lake. Yeah? Your data sources are going to be sitting in many different silos throughout your organization for quite some time to come. So I think even though modern data architecture may all be centered around this sort of original source data as a data lake, the reality is that's not the case. Not for a long time to come. So any solution needs to be able to treat your data as that they live in silos. But you still need this data architecture to make sure that you can get access to that particular data. So let's take a look at how this data architecture will look like on AWS. Actually, all the tools that we already have in place for you. It starts off with automated ingestion. We have S3 upload, we have S3 acceleration. For you, if you have larger files, you can make use of the edge locations to actually drive data into S3. Kinesis of time, of course, for real time. You can now drive a truck up to your data center if that's what if you have that much data that you need to hurdle it over the highway back to our data centers. And quite a few of you are actually making use, for example, of Dynamo streams to actually get original source data streams of updates that are happening in DynamoDB. So that's part number one. Preservation of original source data sits probably in many different places on AWS. Yeah? S3 is an ideal place to build your data. Yeah, but quite often your data will be sitting in EFS, and it will also be sitting in EBS, or it will be living in relational databases. All of them are solutions that we have for you on AWS. Actually, the S3 team is really on fire. Now, what I've seen, you may think that this is a 10-year-old service, or 12-year-olds by now, so sort of the original service. Yeah? These guys are boring, it's just storage. Yeah? No, these guys are really truly on fire. If you see what they've delivered in the past year, it's amazing. And now at REinvent, there's 5 new pieces. Already earlier in the week, they had REinvent, just that each access to each object in S3, you can find that in CloudTrail. They'll support S3 object tagging now, which means that you can write, for example, IAM policies based on tagging, say all of these objects with these particular tags should have this particular IAM strategy applied to them. We'll give you S3 analytics, which gives you deep insight in which objects are accessed most frequently or which objects are not accessed at all. So you get a whole analytics environment there that is driven, so you can sort of define different storage classes. Which objects should you actually move to integration? CloudWatch Metrics gives you deep insight, for example, into how your objects are being used. It gives you sort of throughputs, or it's well, how often objects are accessed, but also, for example, latency to first byte is something that this will give you. And you can now get something that's called S3 inventory, which is periodically you can get yourself a CSV file with information about all the objects based on particular prefix. Great work with this team. Lifecycle management combines sort of the functionality that you have in S3 for automatic identifying objects and applying this lifecycle policy to put things in integration. Government with CloudTrail for you, with config that you manage exactly who can access which particular prefixes, and KMS to help you encrypt the data on them. It's not completely everything that I would expect in this modern data architecture, but we'll get to that in a minute. Managing data quality is a very important one, and I love the fact that EMR is actually a sad element. Oh, by the way, if I would have to manage data quality, it would be a sad element. So managing data quality, EMR is the tool that you use to actually do sort of transformations, to find duplicates and things like that. It's the deep tool to use if you want to do large data processing. We're missing a few pieces though. So it's really important to really fill out all of these pieces if we want to make sure that we can take this 80% of hard work away from it. We need some more glue. We need to glue these different pieces together. So I'm really, really happy to announce AWS glue. Which really takes care of all the open pieces that we still have there for you to really execute a modern data architecture on AWS. It's a fully managed data catalog, an ETL service, an execution service. Let's take a look at what sits in here. First step that you can do with Glue is to build your data catalog. So you are able to point to different data sources. It might be S3, it might be DynamoDB, it might be your RDS instances, and most importantly, any JDBC database. That means that you can also connect this to databases that you're still running on-premise. This is not something that is cloud only. Right? It can connect to databases in the cloud as well as on-premise. So the crawlers then will go through those databases, retrieve the metadata, build the data catalog for you. You can set your access control mechanisms, who is allowed to access which particular data, if you have all that metadata available. The second part of Glue is to be able to build these transformations, to prepare the data for analytics, where you can take the data in any of these databases and then prepare them into a format that your particular analytics engine wants to see. And the third piece of functionality in Glue is the ability to schedule and run those jobs. And to make sure that if data changes at the origin, these jobs are triggered again to make sure that you always have access to the latest information. So we step back to look at sort of what were the pieces missing in this modern data architecture. What were the pieces there that we had for you? And I think with AWS Glue, we're actually covering all of it. With AWS Glue and all the other AWS services that you have available to you, you're now able to build a comprehensive data architecture on AWS. So it's amazing